storm warning continues in San Diego counties. We're in Julian, where the snow flurries continue consistently.
Plenty of wet weather with wind and rain throughout the day. I'll show you the conditions in North County.
Unacceptable. Just one word Mayor Gloria used to describe our streets. His plan to fix that coming up.
And police call for the repeal of a new law they say eases a crackdown on prostitution. CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
A winter storm brings more scattered showers, wind, and even heavier snowfall to our mountains. Good evening. I'm Jesse Pagan, in for Marcella Lee tonight.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. A very rare blizzard warning is in effect just to our north, and the East County mountains could still get several feet of snow closer to the coast. A flood watch is in effect. Tonight we have team coverage. Meteorologist Sean Stiles here with a look at what's happening right now. Our Brian White is live in North County.
But first, let's check in with CBS 8's Regina Yurita live in Julian, where we've seen a lot of snow, and it's not over yet. Regina?
Jesse, Carlo, good evening. I have to tell you, I envy where you guys are sitting right now because it's coming down pretty hard at the moment. I mean, we have been seeing this at different times throughout the day, and it's just bringing heavy snow to Julian. A lot of people are saying this is unbelievable. They haven't seen it this bad within the last 15 years. That's why we're actually seeing some businesses already closed down because they're preparing for what could be an even heavier snowfall throughout the weekend. Now, I want to show you guys actually footage of earlier today. What you're going to look at right now is a parking lot. This is covered in powder. It was pretty much just covered in snow. It's located near Main Street. Every inch of that parking lot is buried underneath that snow. Families actually stopped to take pictures, many taking advantage of the snow. I actually caught up with a City Heights resident who made the drive to Julian. She was with her furry friend earlier today. Her 2-year-old husky was turning 2 and decided to take her to the snow for the first time. Take a listen.
She loves it a lot. She's excited. She wants to run around in the snow. It's her first time. I told her I was going to take her to the snow.
What have you guys been doing? Been sledding with her?
Yeah, so we were on top. Like, she would pull us in the sled.
I love it. What's her name?
Cielo?
Cielo, like sky?
Yeah.
Cielo.
Because her eyes are blue.
Oh, I
Cielito.
love it. Hi, Cielo. Hi. Are you loving the snow? Come here. She's so cute. Again, it's pretty crazy out here. I'm gonna send it back here live. It's pouring pretty heavy, a lot of heavy snowfall. While we're dealing with this kind of snow, I noticed that in other areas of San Diego, well, they're dealing with widespread rain. Actually, our CBS 8 Brian White has been covering the North County. He's in Escondido right now. Brian, how is it going out there? How are you doing?
Regina, it's a little warmer over here, so we're doing a little better than you are, but we appreciate you being out there and bringing us that report on the snow out there in Julian. It's lightly sprinkling right now, but a few hours ago it was actually coming down pretty hard here in Escondido, and I got completely drenched. That's kind of how it's been throughout the county, off and on scattered showers across the county.
Pretty intense downpour, definitely coming down, cats and dogs.
Plenty of rain fell hard at times here in Escondido, making for wet roads and tough driving conditions.
The drivers are kind of sketchy. Most people don't know what they're doing, driving too fast, but if you go slow, it's fine.
It's been very windy and rainy.
Sarah Narafkin just moved to Escondido. She took a walk on her lunch break.
I walked in the rain for 10-15 minutes.
You didn't want an umbrella or something?
No, I like the rain.
Wet driving conditions on the I-5 freeway with several car accidents throughout the day, including an overturned semi north of Oceanside. It had been removed by the time I arrived, but you can see the center guardrail and fencing were completely destroyed as Caltrans workers cleaned up the debris. In Oceanside, plenty of rain soaked the ground as storm clouds moved in.
It's blustery. There have been some squalls that have come in.
People bundled up for the windy weather and tried staying dry with umbrellas.
Wet and rainy. It's gorgeous. It's interesting. The waves are wonderful.
You look like you're nice and prepared with an umbrella.
Oh, yes. I mean, I pretty much always have it on me just in case. You never know when the weather's going to turn on you.
Danielle Marhefka is visiting from Colorado. She brings some nice perspective to this stormy weather we're having.
My mom called me last week and said it was -12, so even with the rain, I'd much prefer to be here.
Meanwhile, back in Escondido, Kyle Neal isn't fazed by the rain.
This is nothing for us. A little wet, but we're going to go up to the snow.
Where?
Julian.
And there you have it, Mr. Kyle Neal from Escondido headed up to Julian to see the snow. He's taking the family up there, but it is fair to say that the driving conditions are extremely dangerous, very, very treacherous, even with snow chains on. So if you're thinking about heading up there, it's something to consider. For now, we will toss it over to CBS 8's meteorologist Sean Stiles in the studio. Sean?
Well, Brian, you try to get in and out of that rain. And Regina, hopefully they've got some warmers in the truck for you there. We're talking about some major weather moving into Southern California. Maine, take a look what the National Weather Service has issued. We've got a winter storm warning for the mountains. No kidding. We just saw Regina. Wind from the coast all the way into the mountains, down into the deserts, not at that level, but still very gusty conditions. And because the wind is coming off the ocean, they've got a gale warning in the waters of Southern California. Carlo mentioned this, a blizzard warning for the San Bernardino, San Gabriel, and Ventura, Santa Barbara mountains. This has not been issued since 1989. This storm is tremendous and big. Here's the unsettled air continuing to move through the area. The storm, though, to the north of us, up over northern California and southern Oregon, that will continue to grind down the coastline. And by this time tomorrow, will be situated over Point Conception. So we're talking about heavy rain at times throughout the day into the overnight hours, lasting into Saturday, and then finally some break in the action as we get into Sunday morning, but not before we've picked up at least an inch plus along the coastline, 2+ inches in the inland microclimates, and in the mountains down to 3,000 feet, the possibility of up to a foot of snow. Carlo?
Thanks, Sean. And remember to keep up with the latest forecast and weather alerts while you're on the go. Download the CBS 8 app from Google Play or the App Store. Mayor Todd Gloria says fixing the city of San Diego's streets is one of his top priorities. And it's not just the streets. Broken sidewalks and street lights are also a big issue and a big source of complaints from many San Diegans as the city works to improve infrastructure. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes found out today the city says these are problems that require all hands on deck to fix. That includes you.
I'm here at 58th and Division in Encanto, and I want you to take a look at the street to get an idea of the problem. You can see there's uneven pavement, potholes, and cracks in the street. It's issues like these that the folks we talk to in this area and Mayor Todd Gloria say are unacceptable.
All the way up and down here, it's just really bad. It's neglected. They haven't done any resurfacing in the last 4 years, I think, or 5 years.
Christopher Chavarria lives in Encanto and says he's tired of raggedy roads.
The last 2 years, these roads have not been fixed whatsoever.
Understand that this is not an overnight solution, but this is a plan. The great part is that we have been planning this for a while.
Eric Dargan, the City of San Diego's new chief operating officer, will help lead efforts to address San Diego's record infrastructure overhaul, addressing 2,800 miles of streets, 17,000 potholes, the city's nearly 6,000 broken streetlights, and 175,000 square feet of sidewalks. Why sidewalk?
It's also a threat to pedestrians and cyclists for whom they could actually get hurt because of the potholes there.
San Diego City Councilman Kent Lee says the goal is to make America's finest city even better, but they warn there will be construction headache.
When we pave a street before it falls apart, or we deliver on long-awaited repairs in our local neighborhoods, it saves San Diegans money.
And when it comes to streets that get potholes fixed versus streets that don't across San Diego, Mayor Gloria says the goal is to use tax dollars wisely.
It is far less expensive to slurry seal a street, but we get more money out of it. Right? It stays in good repair longer.
Today, the city of San Diego announced big road work projects starting as early as March in Pacific Beach, Paradise Hills, Edgar Highlands, and Encanto. Christopher says he's excited to finally see some work being done because he feels other wealthier parts of San Diego get priority treatment when it comes to road repair.
We deserve the same kind of, like treatment when it comes down to our dollars working for us because, it's our tires. I just put brand new tires because of this road.
Mayor Gloria and city leaders say the goal is to make streets so smooth you can drive with a cup of coffee and not spill it. And if you're waiting on the city to come fix your street, sidewalk, or street light, Mayor Gloria has a message for you.
For everyone who says, you haven't gotten mine yet, my question to them is, have you reported it?
I reached out to the city for an estimate of how much all this work will cost, but a specific breakdown is not available yet. Kirsten Holmes, CBS 8.
Thanks, Kirsten. After a months-long investigation, the San Diego District Attorney's Office decided not to charge 5 former Aztecs football players in connection with a gang rape allegation from a 17-year-old girl. Tonight, we're looking into newly unsealed search warrants in the case. CBS 8 and other news organizations filed a motion to unseal the 10 warrants. They're now being made public by the San Diego County DA's office. Coming up tonight on the 10 o'clock news on the CW San Diego and CBS 8 News Live at 11. We'll have more on those warrants and what's inside them.
Law enforcement is calling for the repeal of a state law that decriminalized loitering for the purposes of prostitution. Police say the passage of SB 357 makes it more difficult to identify victims of sex trafficking. As CBS 8's David Goffredson reports, the new campaign comes on the heels of an undercover operation that successfully rescued victims of human trafficking.
Looks like she's going to get inside the vehicle.
We have issued a letter to Governor Newsom asking for this law to be repealed immediately.
Justice advocate Shane Harris is lining up with law enforcement to call for the repeal of SB 357 in California. The law decriminalized loitering for the purposes of prostitution and went into effect January 1st. The National City Police Chief says the law makes it more difficult for officers to combat sex trafficking.
Before the law was repealed, an officer patrolling the streets could actually see this happening. He or she could stop that individual and actually ask questions.
The campaign to reinstate the prostitution loitering law comes on the heels of a successful undercover operation targeting prostitution on Roosevelt Avenue in National City and Albergia Street in San Diego.
You know, we rescued a 13-year-old girl. There's no way in heck that she wanted to be out there. She's being trafficked.
The San Diego police chief spoke on CBS 8, saying SB 357 is making the problem worse.
Well, that's why I've called for the repeal, is we have to be centric on the victims, and this is leading to more people being trafficked.
How you doing? The decriminalization of loitering for the purposes of prostitution was meant to protect sex workers from being arrested over and over again on misdemeanor charges.
Let's be just very clear. They don't need the loitering crime to go up and speak to a minor on the streets and rescue them from trafficking.
SB 357 was written by San Francisco State Senator Scott Wiener, who says officers already have laws on the books to prosecute pimps and sex traffickers, as evidenced by the recent arrest of nearly 50 people in the San Diego undercover operation.
They just conducted a very successful anti-sex trafficking operation. They arrested a large number of people. They rescued a large number of victims, including some very young women. And they did it despite the fact that this loitering crime had already been repealed.
Arresting prostitutes for loitering, Wiener says, is not the answer.
We should not be arresting and prosecuting victims. We should be helping victims.
David Goffredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. Still ahead tonight, claims that a viral video may shed some light on a train derailment in Ohio. We're going to verify that.
But first, the winter storm that's hitting the Sierras in Northern California and what the people there are facing tonight.